As the new US president, Joe Biden has already begun enacting some major policy changes to the US economy. As some of you already know, he plans to increase the corporate tax rate, capital gains tax rate, and enact a minimum tax rate on corporate booked income. While these changes have immense implications, Biden just announced a new deal that will literally go down in the history books as one of the most important changes of all time. In this video, I will cover Biden's groundbreaking spending plan and how major changes are coming, which actually includes the potential for a $15,000 Tesla. Welcome to Kazgain's Academy. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing for more content like this, and let's get right into it. Regardless of the respective political party, today, all politicians are naturally incentivized to increase government spending because politicians are voted into office by advocating for change. In order to change the US economy, politicians need money, and Biden is a prime example of this. Joe Biden recently proposed a shocking $5 trillion budget that he plans to spend over the next decade. If this goes into law, this will be the highest amount of spending as a percentage of the US economy since World War II. On the tax side, Biden's plan is estimated to add $3.6 trillion to government revenue. However, even when accounting for this, the government still has a net deficit of $1.4 trillion. In other words, the US government is going to add $1.4 trillion to its debt as a result of Biden's spending plan. In 2022, Biden is looking to spend $6 trillion before leveling down spending later. This level of debt is unprecedented. By 2024, the US debt as a percentage of the GDP will reach the highest level in American history. That's right, a record high debt level, even higher than the previous World War II debt record. The result of this is that interest rates will increase as a result of additional government borrowing. This is because when the government borrows money, they increase the demand for loans, which increases interest rates. Higher interest rates hurt growth stocks the most, because growth-oriented companies have to borrow more money than value-oriented companies, and this is to maintain their growth rates. David Sachs, the CEO of one of the largest venture capital funds in the world, recently explained the adverse effects of government spending on the All In podcast.
So when you have a federal spending as a percentage of GDP around 20%, it works, right? And that doesn't mean you can't increase government spending. It just means that government spending will increase as the economy gets bigger. But what you have now is federal spending over 30% of GDP, and everything is starting to break. That's the problem.
Very, very big problem.
And of course...
And that's why we're all getting red-pilled, right? How many people in Silicon Valley, frankly, who make a living off growth stocks, are now starting to scratch their heads going, gee, what did I vote for?
As Sachs mentioned, government spending is usually around 20% of the US GDP. However, with Biden's plan, this is going to increase dramatically. In this image, the blue line represents Biden's budget. On the right hand side, you can see that Biden's spending plan will drastically increase spending compared to current projections, especially in the next couple of years. While growth stocks are likely going to be hit by Biden's spending plan, certain growth stocks may explode. And by that, I'm talking about EV stocks in particular. Biden's Clean Energy for America Act is proposing some stupendously major changes to the EV industry. This act has already passed through the Senate Finance Committee with the 14-14 vote, but hasn't passed through the Senate and House yet. Previously, all automakers got a $7,500 tax credit for up to 200,000 vehicles. Biden is looking to extend the $7,500 tax credit and remove the cap on the number of vehicles it can be used for. The only automaker that was actually using this tax credit at high volumes was Tesla, so removing this cap dramatically benefits Tesla. Moreover, Biden plans to add an additional $2,500 tax credit for all electric vehicles manufactured in the US. Biden is also looking to add a $2,500 tax credit for EVs produced by union workers, which mainly only benefits legacy automakers. In total, if this act passes, people will be able to purchase electric vehicles at up to a $12,500 discount, as long as that vehicle is under $80,000. For Tesla vehicles in particular, there will be a $10,000 tax credit for all vehicles. That is a massive discount, and will definitely boost demand for EVs by a substantial amount. Tesla is already supply constrained, and this new act would create even more restraint on Tesla's supply chain. Elon Musk has been talking about a $25,000 Tesla for quite a while now, and rumors have it that it's going to be revealed as soon as the end of 2021. If Biden's plan passes through Congress, this Tesla could be as low as $15,000. Imagine purchasing a Tesla vehicle for $15,000. This is going to break the entire playing field for EVs. A lot of legacy automakers and new electric vehicle manufacturers are starting with high-priced EVs, and this is totally fine, because that is what Tesla did at first with the Roadster. With other companies such as GM and Lucid, the Hummer EV starts at $80,000, and the Lucid Air starts at $77,500. However, because of these tax credits, Tesla will now be able to benefit tremendously through high percentage decreases in prices, and as a result, a high volume of sales, while other automakers only get marginal decreases. Not only that, but only the cheapest versions of the Lucid Air and the Hummer EV even meet the criteria for the tax credit. Because of this, it will be a lot harder for newer companies in the EV space that haven't mastered the economies of scale and had to resort previously to charging higher prices to grow in this new setting. So while this benefits the EV market as a whole, it really primarily benefits Tesla. This is because if this bill passes while Tesla is expanding and opening its new factories, then Tesla may continue to be supply constrained for years to come. Essentially, over the course of a few years, Tesla may be getting a $10,000 tax credit per vehicle for 5 million vehicles, whereas legacy auto as a whole could be receiving a $12,500 tax credit for only 500,000 vehicles. In that scenario, Tesla's customers would receive $50 billion, whereas legacy auto would only receive $6.25 billion. That kind of funding is groundbreaking for Tesla, as Tesla's scale and lower price level may allow it to gain disproportionate amounts of government funding. If passed, this new act would come into play for all electric vehicles that were purchased starting from May 24, 2021, so even people who purchased EVs recently could still obtain this huge EV tax credit. If this bill is successful, EV stocks will definitely generate massive returns over the next few years. You might be wondering how Biden is going to spend $5 trillion. In addition to the climate change bill, the Biden plan also includes $200 billion for free preschool for all 3 and 4-year-olds, and $109 billion for free community college for all Americans. Furthermore, the Biden plan includes $225 billion for childcare, $100 billion for research and development, $52 billion for semiconductor production, $225 billion for national family and medical leave, and $200 billion for a continuation of Obama's healthcare law. Lastly, Biden is also looking to spend $36.5 billion for schools in low-income areas, which is $20 billion higher than the current spending rate. All of this spending hasn't been approved by Congress, but the odds are in Biden's favor because Democrats control both the House and the Senate. Now there might be one thing on your mind right now. The Biden plan may lead to higher inflation, especially considering the massive budget deficit and spending levels. Biden claims that the average inflation rate over the next decade will be roughly 2.3%. But of course, critics are skeptical of this. On one side, some think that the Biden plan will make the US more competitive internationally, whereas others think that the Biden plan is a waste of tax money and creates a deficit and inflationary problem. The US Secretary of Commerce, Gina Raimondo, stated that Biden's jobs plan is all about competing with China, improve our education system, improve our infrastructure, invest in manufacturing. The way to compete with China is to run faster, to invest in America. In terms of defense, we haven't slowed down. We're going to do what we need to do to protect American industry. In my opinion, Biden's job plan is going to help the US economy grow in the short term, but it could almost guarantee adverse effects, such as inflation, higher interest rates, and an increase in the US debt levels. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Do you think the Biden plan will stifle innovation? Or do you think Biden's plan is necessary for US growth and competing with China? If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.